right. The video is, when did that happen? Each one of these cups represents a different person's life. The first person, as you can see, they had no friends. They had no friends because they weren't friendly. They weren't nice. They were mean. They wrote things on the internet that were not true. And whenever somebody came around, they'd say things like, "Hey, did you dress yourself? Or did your mama dress you?" They would ask you things, and then when you answered, they'd make fun of your answer. They made fun of people the way that they walked, the way they wore their hair, the way they talked, the way they had clothes on, whatever it was. They always were unfriendly, until pretty soon, not even their best friends wanted to have them around. So this was a person with no friends. The second person, this was the one who did not have a really good self-esteem, and they decided they were going to do whatever came along. For example, if everybody took and they had their hair and made it all bright orange, this person had bright orange hair. If everybody wore a certain sneaker or a certain jersey, they wore exactly what everybody else did. They wanted to fit in no matter what. And then the final person, this person wasn't in very good shape. As a matter of fact, for being as young as they were overweight, they had bad complexion, bad hair, and they liked to sit around. And whenever it was time to go to McDonald's, their favorite phrase was, "Supersize me," because they wanted to have a lot of things that were greasy and unhealthy. They drank 5, 6, 7 sodas a day. It didn't really matter. They weren't doing things to help themselves. And of course, they always sat around and didn't exercise. What we have right here is a bottle of effort and time. Of course, water is going to represent that. So each time that I pour water in here, it represents time and effort that person's putting in at whatever it is. To start with, this person had no friends, and somebody looked at them and said, "You know, you look pretty miserable." He said, "Yeah, I am pretty miserable." So he said, "I got a formula you can follow. All you have to do is be friendly towards people, and you'll get friends." He says, "But I really don't know how to do that." He said, "Follow my plan, and I guarantee you, by the end of this school year, you'll have friends." He said, "The first thing you need to do is you need to go out and you need to start smiling." So they just smiled. But people thought, hey, something's up. They might be laughing at me. He said, "No, you know what? Maybe you need to just do something nice from somebody." So he went out and they started to see, and each day, maybe what would he do? Hold a door open, help somebody whose books fell, just give somebody a hand if he could. But people were still skeptical. The next week, they said, "Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to compliment them." So they started complimenting. And as he complimented, people still didn't see anything different in him, because they were still ready for him to take and wait for the compliment and then say something mean. The second person that we have here, this was a person that wanted to fit in. His friend said, "Hey, let's go drag racing. Let's go street racing." So they went out street racing. And as they went out street racing, they noticed that it was windy when they were street racing. What they noticed was that the third night, they almost got in a wreck. He told his dad, he said, "You know what?" He said, "My car was in a parking lot and somebody kind of sideswiped me. I wasn't even in the car." His dad believed him. And then the next night, he went out with his friends and they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's start vaping, because it's always fun. Everybody's vaping now. That's the thing to do. Let's go ahead and vape." So they started vaping. Somebody said, "You know what would really be great? Why don't we take, besides vaping, let's go ahead and get some brews along with that." So they went out and they found somebody who could illegally buy alcohol for them. They started not only vaping, but they were drinking. And he said, "Hey, this is pretty great. I like this, friends." The third person, we'll get back to these two. The third person, they were there and they didn't know what to do, but they had read some articles and decided, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a little bit better in shape. At least that's what my plan is. So they decided that maybe they would cut out chips every night. each night they started cutting out chips. More and more. And man, they missed those chips. They were really good. And then they said, you know what, the second week, maybe I can drink a couple waters instead of some of those sodas that I'm drinking. So that's what they did. And here it was about 3 weeks or so later, and none of them could see any difference in their life. Nobody. The people on the outside couldn't tell the difference. They couldn't tell the difference. So the person that was over here with the problem with the friends, he started to compliment people. If he thought a girl's hair looked pretty, he told her. If he thought a friend's shoes looked nice, he told them. If they were doing something kind, he mentioned it. But nobody could still see any difference. He would sit around at different places in the cafeteria and not say anything with people, but just be there. Just be nice. Well, in the meantime, this guy here, some of his friends said, hey, you know what? I found the greatest hash. I found some weed. Let's smoke it. So he said, hey, I think I'll do that. I want to smoke some of that. So he did. And he started smoking the weed. He said, hey, I like this. The next night he started smoking more weed. Pretty soon he was smoking weed enough that he wasn't doing his homework because it wasn't as much fun as smoking weed. He wasn't going to his job as often because it was not as much fun as smoking weed. And pretty soon, him smoking weed became the thing that he really, really liked to do. Well, the person over here that was trying to get their life together with their health started to walk. Just a little ways at first, then a little bit more, and a little bit more. And each day they walked a little bit further, still started drinking more water. And they said, man, I'm kind of hungry. So they replaced the chips. And they had pizza once in a while, but not every night. They had fried food every once in a while, but it wasn't their steady diet. And pretty soon their complexion started getting a little bit better. They started noticing some differences. And up till now, all these people really didn't see much difference. And toward the end of the semester, a few things happened. This first person, they were sitting there talking with some people in the cafeteria, and a bully came by. And the bully came by and started and the bully said, you know what? I'm sick of you. And they wanted to start a fight. The people around the table all of a sudden looked and they said, you know what? Leave him alone. He's cool. He's not like that anymore. He's our friend. And so, as you can see that even though nobody else could see it, all of a sudden he realized he had friends. The second person, their boss said, you know what? You missed a lot of work lately. You decided you wanted to do something different. That's fine. You guys, don't worry about it, boss. I found something better. I don't need to work and make money. I can go ahead and I can go by myself and I can smoke. And so his grades dropped. His job one day was gone. And his life was a little bit different than what he'd really planned on. But you know what? He was happy. Wasn't killing him, and he was real happy about things. And the third person, they noticed that when they went into the gym and started lifting weights, they could lift more each day. That their skin got better, their endurance got better, and pretty soon, what they realized was they were in a lot better shape, and people started noticing, hey, you're getting in better shape. But the whole point behind this is this. When did that happen? I don't know. I can't tell you when it happened. But what I can tell you is this, that every time the person did something, it made a difference. Did they see it? No. Did people on the outside see it? No. But it made a difference till one day, everybody could see it. It couldn't be hid anymore. Whether it was, when did this person become addicted? I don't know when, but it happened. When did this person become strong and fit? I don't know, but it happened. And when did this person start to get friends? I don't know, but it happened. You could use this in almost any part of your life. It just depends on how you decide that you're going to deal with things. You're not going to see a difference right away. I won't see a difference right away. But sooner or later, you'll see a difference. So to answer the question, when did that happen? I don't know. But it did.